symbol called on air.
Mm,
Okay, so we are now live,
mm.
and first of all, I'd like to introduce who we are talking to today. We're talking to Mrs. Shilaja. She's one of our longtime customers, and she's been very successfully using her Varaha up until now. Like she's gotten like maybe 2 or 3 solid batches of beautiful compost, and we were thinking that we can actually improve communications between uh, people who are interested in composting through Varaha by having this kind of like a platform where we take success cases and we actually like interview them and ask them what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they understand Varaha for themselves, because it's common knowledge that uh, even though the textbooks may say something, we still understand whatever it is that we understand, and we just want to increase the sharing of that understanding. So thank you so much, ma'am, for taking the time and like coming for the call today.
Yeah, it's my
uh,
pleasure, Varun.
Okay, so we've made a simple list of questions.
Okay.
And to start it off, I'd like to ask you, how would you describe Varaha? Like, if you were explaining it to someone, like, how would you describe it?
Okay. Varaha is a composting machine
Hmm.
ideal for a small family of 4 to 5 people. And it's very friendly, user friendly, and very compact machine. Compact. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So the next logical question would be, if not for Varaha, would you have ever started composting in the given space that you have?
Uh, Actually, yes. I was thinking of going for a composting unit. I was looking
Okay.
for a proper one.
Hmm.
So when I saw the Varaha unit, so I said, this is the thing I wanted.
Okay, so is there like any factors that you feel, like Varaha and other composting solutions that you've seen have like a difference in them?
I have seen two or three. So
Hmm.
Varaha has two or three plus points which made me select that. One
Okay.
is very small place it takes. It
Hmm.
takes very small place,
Hmm.
and it looks good in my garden, and design is such that. And also there is absolutely no smell, bad smell, though it is composting and you are not putting any external agents for it to get compost. So there is no bad smell.
Okay.
So that
So
made me select go for Varaha.
okay. So by answering it that way, you've kind of combined the answer for the next question that we had as
Oh,
well.
is it? Is it? Okay.
So fantastic. And so now we want to understand like how do you use your Varaha? Meaning to say, what is your usage routine? Let's assume that this video is being watched by somebody who is interested in buying one or who isn't, like very confident about whether they can get into it because they're intimidated by the whole composting process.
Okay.
So when I ask you this question, what I mean to ask is, what is your usage routine? Do you
Mm,
have any prepping steps? Like do you prepare the waste before
mm,
you
mm.
put it into composting unit in any special way or any unique way that you figured out for yourself?
Oh,
So
okay.
my overall question is,
Uh,
how do you use your Varaha? I mean to say, like, how is it that you have like built a routine around it?
Okay. 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 So daily, when I chop my vegetables or which are the peels which will go to Varaha or the fruit peels, I take it out, cut it into small pieces, and I'll keep it in a plate for some time it to dry a little. So, say for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I'll keep it in a plate, and then I'll put it into Varaha. And coming to plant waste, so they are dry, so there is no moisture in it. So I'll cut it into small pieces and then put it. And flowers, used flowers also. So I also keep it open it, and if it is a string of flowers like mala, I cut into small pieces and then put it. So that is helping me.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now you spoke a lot about how you have to cut the wet waste.
Ah,
and that is one of the first questions that we actually get. Like, is it possible to, like automate that? Is it possible to put like a chopping machine on top?
ah,
Um, and we think of it from a carbon footprint perspective. If I'm
mm,
using a motor here, I'm burning wood somewhere
yes.
or burning coal somewhere.
Mm,
So there's obviously a difference between we saying it and you saying it because you're the user.
yes.
And like, is it really an effort for you to like chop up the waste into small sizes?
Yeah, it is a small effort. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but I'm okay with it. So
Okay.
it is not a burden. I don't think it is a burden. It is taking my lot of time. Yeah, it takes a little bit time and your thought, but once it is you get used to it, it is a part of the job.
Okay.
Uh,
Moving on to the next question.
mm,
Okay, so now the question that we want to ask you next is, what do you think about the design of the product? And when we say the design of the product, we had essentially we need your certification. When we started out with the whole, like the design of the product itself in the initial days, we
mm,
had three rules of thumbs.
mm,
It should be invisible. It should not need anything more than your intuition, and it shouldn't take more than a foot across.
mm,
Okay, so
mm,
when we
mm,
say it
mm.
should be invisible, that means to say even if you see it, it shouldn't be an eyesore,
Yeah,
and even if you're sitting next to it, you shouldn't be able to smell it too much.
yeah, yeah,
So how do you validate us based on these three rules? It should be
yeah,
invisible, it should not need more than your intuition, and it shouldn't take more than a foot. What do
yeah.
you feel?
All these lines you score 100 out of 100.
Thanks. Probably the only exam where I scored
Because
100 out of 100, but okay.
because it is compact, as I said, it takes very small place and it looks good in my garden. And people, after even seeing it also, they can't make out, so where will you put the garbage, so where does your waste go, so they can't see only. So whoever sees it, they says, I have to explain it, I'm putting it from here, it goes here, it stays here, and all that.
Okay,
So that way the design part is good.
okay. Uh, okay, so now we're looking at maintenance. And how much effort do you have to put into operating and maintaining the unit?
uh, Operating and maintaining, so it depends on how much waste you put, but as
Mm,
per my usage, so
mm,
it is no effort at all, so it is very easy. And like operating also, it is very simple, anybody can learn it. And mainly what it is main positive is you don't feel like you are putting and you are composting, you are pressing and all that, so it just happens, so it just happens like that. So very good, so no
okay.
complaints. And
What about the maintenance aspect of it? Do you feel like you need to clean it? Do you feel like, anything at
yeah,
all?
like after say 3 months, 3.5 months, so I give a break of say 8 to 10 days for
Okay.
it to settle down. So
Okay.
I feel the compost is collected a bit, and it
Hmm.
needs to gets compressed and make
Hmm.
place for new ways to take it. So for that, I'll give a gap of 8 to 10 days. Then I start over again.
Okay, so that means to say in these 8 to 10 days you continue to remove compost, but
Ha,
you're not adding any wet waste.
I'm not adding, yes, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, did you have a composting need to begin with? I think you've already answered that question that you were
Yes,
interested in it.
yes,
And does
yes.
it meet all your composting needs? You're a family of four.
Ha.
Like, I just want people to know that, and
Hmm.
all four have very healthy diets. So, like
Yes,
that,
lot of vegetables.
having established that, like, what is your average vegetable in, consumption per day?
per day, should I say the waste generation or the
Yeah, you
vegetable
can
consumption?
like so I think like people will be able to connect more on how much vegetables you're consuming instead of like because people don't often weigh the waste, right? So
Ha, ha, ha,
but they buy the vegetables in weight, so they
ha.
know how much they're consuming.
So you can say daily uh, one to 1.5 kilos of vegetables are we use.
Okay,
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
okay,
So and fruits,
okay.
say 3 to 4 fruits.
Hmm.
So, so that makes our usage.
Okay, so and usually for this is for the viewers. Usually vegetables have about a 90% efficiency. So that means to say if you buy 2 kilos of vegetables a day and you prep it, you're losing about 200 grams in wet waste. That's the kind of usual like performance of vegetables. So that means to say that you're adding about 250 grams of wet waste each day,
Hmm. Yes.
and so this takes care of your entire wet waste outflow from your house.
No, few fruits like which are very thick and like watermelon peel and all. So that I don't put it here.
Okay,
And few vegetables also like thick, which are the thick peels and all. I don't put, and
like
very watery things I don't put. So
pumpkins maybe.
almost, yeah, pumpkin middle. Yeah.
Okay,
So 80% of the wet waste goes here. So only 20% goes out.
okay. So you've again segued into our next question.
Oh.
Uh, so, uh, what was your wet waste output before, and what is your wet waste output now from your house? In the
Yeah,
form
it
of
has
trash.
reduced. I told you it has reduced by 80%. Only 20% goes to my garbage outside. So others
Okay,
I put it here.
okay,
Put it to Varaha. So 80% Varaha takes it.
okay. Good. So that means to say that BBMP is a little less worried, like
Yeah.
because of I think Suhas has joined us.
Okay.
Uh,
Hi,
Bangalore
Hello,
traffic
Suhas.
issues.
Hi.
hi Anthony.
Hi.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I think our waste generation,
Compost.
do you think, like, at an apartment level, do you think, that the waste generation would actually drastically reduce if each one of the homes
Yes,
had?
yes. I advise everybody to use this.
Okay.
So, because though apartment has their programs of waste collecting and disposal, so
Hmm.
as much as possible, people if they think of uh, reducing it and composting it at their home, nothing
Hmm.
like it. So it's
Okay.
a very good option.
Okay. And on a lighter note, is Varaha a good conversation starter?
Yes, whoever visits my house and sees my garden first is what is it? So then it starts and our conversation revolves around that only. So
Okay.
and on the same note, I would like to say I'm known in my complex like she uses Varaha. So I was introduced to one lady like she uses Varaha. So
Okay.
As long as the blouse piece and the coconuts get replaced with compost, so that's your success.
really, you are looking at that. Okay.
So, and like that, like brings us to our next question. So that means to say that you are engaging in a conversation about Varaha,
Hmm,
and you're also generating compost at your own home. And
hmm,
a lot of people have this concern, like, I don't have a garden. What do I do with compost?
hmm,
So, like, I just want to like go like a deep dive on your use case scenario,
hmm.
and like ask you this question and understand how you're dealing with this, and how are you using the compost coming out of Varaha? Are you using it in your garden? Are you disposing it, or are you giving it to friends?
Uh, I'm using it in my garden. So, and
Okay.
once we got more, so I had just put it to my garden, so I gave it to a friend. So,
Okay.
and then that friend requested me again, asking me, "Your compost is good. Can I have it again?" So now two more friends have joined, so four of us are using it.
Okay. So that means
So
to say
two of
that.
us have, amongst the four, two have very full-fledged garden.
Okay.
Other two have small garden.
Okay.
So
So that means to say one Vara is able to take care of
four
approximately four homes
gardens. Yes,
in an apartment scenario. That's
yes.
actually
Yes.
the other way around that we thought. We thought we'll need more Varahas per garden. So going the
That
other way.
that
It's
marketing
actually,
point of view, yes, you. That's a
yeah.
lost
So
point.
no, and also another thing is, so essentially what's happening is you've enabled a community. So that means
Hmm.
to say, like there are four families now whose gardens are thriving because of, Varaha. And the other thing is, my mom grew palak out of Varaha,
Huh,
and for the first time, I saw the food cycle complete because
huh.
she grew, palak
Palak
out of
into the
the
Varaha.
thing, and then the wet waste
Mm.
came, and then it went back into Vara, and I'm like, "Wow!" So it was quite an experience. And I think like we're pretty much at the end of our questions,
Okay.
and like at the end of the day, from all these aspects, although we have repetitively visited this point, I just want to ask in final, like, is Varaha apartment friendly, and do you think it would uh, be possible for us to make it any more apartment friendly than it already is?
Is completely apartment friendly.
Hmm.
Only thing is, uh, in apartments, it is protected from rain and all.
Hmm.
So if rain comes and water enters, so then it affects the quality of the compost.
Yeah.
So if where in apartments where the rainwater comes, so there you may take some precautions for that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
actually, that problem I'm not facing because my balcony
Yeah.
is waterproof, so there's no problem. If there is water, so then it may affect the.
Okay. Right. We
So
will take that feedback and
Mhm.
see if we can go through another design iteration to probably solve that
okay,
problem.
uh,
And I think that's the end of our questions that we had prepared for you.
okay,
Thank you so much for taking your time off and like helping us out with this. And it was really nice talking to you about this whole thing.
okay,
Uh, and hopefully we'll be able to help, some other folks who are interested in Varaha, or who are already using Varaha, to pick a few notes out of what you said and maybe improve the compost that they're getting in their homes. Thank you so much for your time.
okay,
Uh, have a
okay,
good night. Thank you.
okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you.
Sorry
All
for
the
being
best to
late.
you people.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Okay,
Bye
yeah,
bye.
it was my pleasure talking. Yeah, okay.
Bye
See
bye.
you.
Good night.